Phil Ross from mysailing.com.au on the eve of the Rio Olympics. I thought I'd walk down the road and say hello to one of our former Olympians, Matt Hayes from the '96 Atlanta Games. Good to see you here, Matt.
Hey Phil, how you going, mate?
Good, good. It's a lovely winter Sydney day, but I thought let's decamp to one of the saloons of one of your nice boats.
Let's go out to this Dew 460, mate.
Okay. So Matt competed in '96 Olympics, Atlanta, in the Solings. Give us a feeling of what it was like to compete in those Olympics.
Well, of course, it was last century, so 20 years ago, but it was a fantastic experience. It's interesting that at the time it was sort of you get caught up in the Olympics a bit, but it was also just like treating it as another regatta. Well, we had done so many regattas over the last 2 or 3 years before that, so but it was a regatta with a difference because it was all the extra security and all the hoo-ha and the fluff and everything that goes with it. But when you're actually there competing, you're focused and you're concentrating on the job at hand. So you try not to get too caught up in the whole emotion of the thing. But certainly when after it's finished, I mean, it's a massive high. It's fantastic experience. So glad I did it. So glad I had those hard yards, of 4, 5, 6 years of competing and travelling around the world and doing all the chook raffles and raising money and begging and stealing and borrowing and sponsorships and all that sort of stuff. It really is one of the great things that one of my greatest kind of sporting achievements, I suppose. Yeah, so it's been great.
I think that's fair enough to say. You finished 12th, just out of the top 10, but you had 5 results in under 10. Best one being a second. How did that race pan out for you?
Oh, that was a great race. In actual fact, we had another race, believe it or not, where we actually won the race, but we got disqualified for being over the line. And what really hurt was, in our own humble opinion, we weren't. But the boat next to us, which had RUS on the bow as opposed to AUS, they didn't get pinged and we got pinged. And and anyway, that's sort of a story I've kind of moved on from that, if you like. But
it's very timely. But when you say RUS, we all know who that is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But if that race counted for us, we would have finished in the top 6 and then into the match racing. So we kind of, that put us back a bit, unfortunately. But the race we got second was great. But the racing is so close. It's almost, I call it mistake-free sailing. You make one little mistake and you might as well just turn around and go home. It's really hard to come back. You've got to be smart, you've got to be fast, and you've got to be mistake-free.
So in that respect, your crew had to be good. I thought you only picked your crew because all you had to do was yell at Steve and someone would answer. But
no, I mean, we, because, Steve Jarvin and Steve McConaughey were fantastic. And we got to a stage when we were sailing and that the talk was absolutely minimal. And I would literally just, Mossy and Steve Jarvin would be calling the wind stuff and Steve would be looking at wave patterns. And there'd just be this little snippets of conversation around the race course. And often I would just turn the tiller, and they knew we were tacking. I didn't have to say, okay, crew, get ready, helms to lee, lee-ho. You just turn the tiller, and they just knew. We just had this, synergy of, not only is the physicality of the synergy, but also the way we were thinking as well. So that was, that's what you get to when you sort of get to that level.
You were up against some pretty good competition. The medal winners were Jochen Schumann, Madrigali, Beadsworth, and you ended up beating Magnus Holmberg, I think, when you got your 12th. So how was the crew demeanour during the whole regatta?
Oh, it was great. It's funny, that was the only regatta Beadsworth beat us in. We've been in for, the past couple of years, but he just nailed it. He sailed so well. Oh yeah, there's some big names, and to beat those guys or be in that same league was just an absolute honour. Fantastic. I kind of joke that, all us Olympians in the past, the guys these days are learning from all the things that we did wrong. That's why they're so good these days,
Yeah, I fully agree. And final words to camera for the Australian Olympic team?
Kick ass! Give it your best. I mean, it's an amazing experience, guys and girls, and we're all behind you back here, so good luck.
Same from mysailing.com.au. Thank you.
Let's have this now, Bill.
Yeah. Woohoo! Who cares if it's warm? Our thanks to Matt Hayes for a pleasant afternoon. Matt's Performance Cruising bringing Dufour and Elan yachts, and his Sydney by Sail provides chartering in Sydney Harbour.